Hi, I have in front of me here a high definition professional 960H bullet camera that comes with 120 meter IR. Basically, this is a really top end camera. It's high definition due to the fact it's using the new 960H analog technology, and it's ideal for a job such as, we'll say, covering a long driveway, simply because the resolution and the IR rating on it is so high. So some of the key aspects with it: the code number on it is XC960BN. It's a varifocal lens, and it can varies from 5 to 50 millimeters, and the angle is from 6 to 49 degrees. The power consumption on this is 12 volt and just over 1 amp. Basically, if you want to get the max from the IR night vision on it, I'd say don't use it with anything smaller than a 12 volt 5 amp power unit. And it comes with WDR and DNR as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give an overview of exactly what comes with this camera, and then give a demonstration of using it just in our video display room here, and give an example of the night vision that comes with it. Obviously this camera is set up for outdoor use, covering long ranges and that, but it'll still work for some practical purposes. So it comes in this outer box here, okay, so it's just very plain from that perspective. If we look here, we have a cover that'll actually fit directly over the top of the camera. I'll just hold the cover there, and what we do is we would put this little rubber bung here onto this screw. I'll just push it down now. And what we could do is we could mount it directly on top of the camera. I'll just hold this over here now if you can see it. And we could put the screw in, and we can just screw it and lock it in position. We can move this forward and back. And basically the idea of the cover is to keep both rain and sun glare directly off the lens. I'll just remove it there. The little rubber bung is to actually allow you to tighten it down and keep it watertight rather than letting any water go into the camera. So next we'll come on to the user manual, which we have here. Then we have some screws and plugs, and this little marking paper here. Basically it's a template for marking out in the wall or a ceiling exactly where we'd mount this. On top of that then we have some tools. We have a screwdriver, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. It can be used for adjusting the zoom and the focus on it. We also have this Allen key, which you can see here in front of me here, and that's for adjusting the screws here, for actually changing the angle at which we mount the camera. We have this extra 2.1 millimeter power jack here, and it's basically, if you run a cable to power it, it just lets us terminate it and it can feed directly into the power socket on it. We have a test cable here which we connect directly off the back of the unit. I'll take off the cover in a moment to show it, and you can run it directly to a test unit which you could use if you're setting it up with a local meter. We have an extension bar here that basically would slot in onto the base of the unit, and it would just allow us to have a larger offset away from the wall if that was something that was desirable in certain setups, depending on soffit or something like that. And then we also have this little rubber bung here, which I'm going to demonstrate now. It just slides over the screwdriver here, or any screwdriver. And the reason this is important, in a few moments time, I'm actually going to take the cover off this camera. So just to show you how we can adjust with it. So let's show a few features on it. So I'm just going to turn the camera around here. So you can see we have the IR here, and we also have two very powerful IR lamps here as well on the side. Okay, and that's what gives it such great range, because it's got a lot more IR juice than the ordinary camera. If we rotate the camera around here, we'll see that we have an input and an output here. We have a power input here, a 2.1 millimeter input, and we have a BNC video output here, which would obviously run back to our DVR. Clearly, we'll say when you're using a 960H camera here, you want to run it back to a 960H DVR if you want to be able to get the full high definition picture on it. So that's a very important point on it. I'll just come along and look at the base here now. We can see there's 4 holes here which would use the mount, and that lines up exactly with the paper template I showed you earlier. If we wanted to put in the extension bar, what we would do is we would use the Allen key that I showed earlier, and we would adjust the screw. I'm just going to tilt this over, maybe show you the screw if I can. It's just here, okay? If we wanted to adjust the angle, either mount it from above or from adjust the angle on the thing, we could use the Allen screw equally to adjust this here, and it allows us to rotate this angle, and it can flip a full 180 degrees all the way up, back to here, the normal position, or back another further 90 degrees down below. What I'm going to do now is, we can see on the back of the camera here, it has a little control panel. And what it has here is a mechanism for opening it. So we could just slot the screwdriver in initially, but because I have the rubber bung on it now, it just means that I can rotate this around and just repeat it again, all the way around and remove it. And the rubber bung stops us from marking the paint, okay? So what I might do is just adjust it by hand. I had it loosened mainly, as you can guess, in preparation for the video. And we'll just come along here and we'll just look here at the inputs here. So the first thing here is we have the test cable that I talked about earlier. If we want to feed it to a local setup meter, would go directly in here. We have a menu selection button here. We have an up and down button for scrolling through menus. We have an adjust right and left button, and we also have a zoom adjustment and a focus adjustment, and we'd use the screwdriver, which I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to move this into focus right next to the camera here now, and we'll just move it here, and I'll be doing this in a little while. I'll actually be adjusting the zoom and the focus, okay? So I'm just going to take this screwdriver out of the way, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run a power lead and a BNC lead that I have coming from our local DVR onto this camera, and we'll come along and we'll bring the picture out onto this camera, or this TV that's connected directly onto the DVR via HDMI lead, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come along and I'm just going to pick a point over here. And we can see here that it can focus on very small print at a real distance away, okay? If we come along here and we need it to focus in on a certain point here, I can just put the screwdriver in here, and you can see we can make the picture even sharper, or if I adjust it too far, it'll bring it totally out of focus. And it's very, very easily done. And okay, we're doing that at a distance of maybe 4 or 5 meters, but you know, this is very, very impressive in terms of you can adjust to pick up number plates at, you know, 50, 60 meters, all the way out to 120 meters in terms of the overall IR range on it. So we have both this for day and nighttime vision. Now what I might do at this point is, I'm just going to hold the camera here, and I'm just going to get my cameraman to go and knock off the lights, okay? So we're just set up here, we're going to focus on, so it'll go blank initially and then it'll come back on. Yep. Just wait a minute. And we can see here, like that's our nighttime vision. It's absolutely fantastic. The resolution that's on this, just knock the lights back on there, please. So it's really, really impressive. Now there was a previous version of this camera. It hadn't got the same range that this one has, but it was still very impressive. But this one here, in both in terms of the resolution on it, the IR range on it, and the ability to work, we'll say, with the new 960H DVRs, it's really, really impressive. And just one quick word I'm going to say in relation to the 960H DVRs. They're backward compatible, so it means that just say you had a DVR and you wanted to upgrade it, because you want to add it on extra cameras or upgrade some of your cameras, you could switch out from your old analog, move to the new 960H one, and you can add on new cameras like this and reconnect your old cameras, and simply give the standard resolution coming from the old cameras, and it'll give the high resolution coming from these cameras here as well. So from that perspective, and it just makes people making the right decision in terms of the cameras they buy very, very easy. So that's it anyway, an overview of the professional 120 meter high definition IR bullet cameras.